All right, Tyson Barrie of the Toronto Maple Leafs joining us on the Ray and Dregs Hockey Podcast. And Tyson, I know you've been following along on social media. Brendan Gallagher of the Montreal Canadiens, he's spending hours developing and posting these hilarious, awesome videos. I had a conversation with Alex Killorn of the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's zipping around on a Sea-Doo around Tampa Bay doing something that he calls dock talk, which is really annoying his Lightning teammates. So how are you passing your time in Victoria?
Definitely less on the social media side of it. I feel very grateful to be back here right now, and I live close to the water, so I got a dog named Ralph, and I'm just kind of taking him around and doing some cool hikes that otherwise probably wouldn't have been able to do. And it feels like summer here right now. It's like 20 degrees, so just a lot of outdoor time. Excellent.
Well, we'll bring Ray into the mix here momentarily, but you just mentioned Ralph. All right. Now, there's a backstory to Ralph the dog. And we've got a little bit of time, but it connects you, it connects John Tavares, and it connects Wayne Gretzky. So explain all of that.
Yeah. So I met Wayne's sons probably 10 years ago now, and they've become really good friends of mine. And Trevor was coming out for a visit in Denver when I was playing there. And he was on FaceTime, and he had this little puppy. He's like, oh, yeah, my parents just got new dogs. And I was like, oh, it's so cute. And then he's like, 2 days later, he called me. He's like, dude, I got to get rid of this dog. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I need to find it a home. I'm like, he was coming to Denver anyway. So I'm like, bring it with you. I'm like, maybe I'll keep him. I don't know. So he did. He flew him out there. And then Ralphie got here, and it was couldn't let him go.
So now the dog, same breeder as John Tavares' dog, correct?
Yeah, exactly. They're like Swiss Ridge out of Toronto.
So whose dogs are sharper? Is Ralph smarter? Is Ralph more active?
It depends on the day. Ralph's as smart as he wants to be. He kind of runs the show.
Okay, so you're in quarantine. I've seen you described as someone that would be the best and the worst quarantine partner. Like, how could that be?
I mean, maybe just I like to chirp guys, so I think maybe they'd have it would be funny to live with me for a bit, and then maybe it would they'd get sick and tired of it. So that could be it. But I mean, I think I'm a fantastic quarantine partner.
Don't we all?
I don't know where this stuff comes from.
Oh, you know where it comes from. Hey, so now your dad had a long pro career. Len Barrie went on to be one of the owners of the Lightning, and we'll get into that in a sec. Now, you say you like to chirp. So my son Landon likes to as well. How often do you mock the style or the playing videos of anything your dad did like Landon does to me?
I actually just I saw a video of him playing for the Kamloops Blazers, and he launched one off a shin pad and then went down, and someone jumped him and he turtled. So I sent him that
video. Your dad had the Gretzky helmet too, though.
Oh yeah. Oh, buddy, he thought he was the great one. No question.
But so people don't know that all of us old guys used to play, but your dad was a hell of a player. Like he was a big time scorer, and then he got into the Edmonton system and played for years in pro hockey all over the world. Like, what did you get to see any of that, or were you too young to really kind of remember?
No, I did. I did at the end. When he was, I remember my first memories. I can't remember when he went over and played in Frankfurt in Germany. And then I started skating and getting into hockey a little bit. And then we came to California, played for the Kings and the Long Beach Ice Dogs. And I was old enough, I was going to the rink. And then his last year was with the Panthers. And that's, I was coming to the rink with him all the time, like really enjoying it. So that was a lot of fun, just being in the locker room. And he was one of those guys that was just give it to everybody. So he was, as far as I could tell, pretty fun to be around in the room.
Well, you said you sent him that video about him turtling. So Landon sends a video of me scoring a goal that, the goalie's standing up. He tries to make a toe save, and it'll just say something like, no wonder. Like, holy crap. Like, this guy, you guys are terrible.
My dad didn't have the stats you had, Ray. I'm working with other highlights.
Well, if there were any highlights of me fighting, they would be of me turtling, because I used to get the shit kicked out of me on a regular basis. Too much to say, not enough to fight with.
Yeah.
So now
I'm on that program.
You're at home. How are you keeping yourself busy? You say like you go on hikes and stuff, and but like, can you work out? Do you have a gym at home? Do you?
Yeah. So I got I got a Peloton here. So
when did you get it?
Probably 3 weeks ago now.
Okay, because we got one ordered and it's supposed to come May 2nd-ish. How good is it?
Oh, it's the best. It's especially if you're not really motivated and you just jump on there, like the next thing you know, you're going to be killing yourself because you're just watching your scoreboard, and it, like, the motivation of it is just I think it's quite genius.
Now, Tyson, Ray and I talked about this earlier in the podcast, but we know that North American NHL players aren't skating, right? I mean, aside from the guys who are rehabbing, and there's a few of those who have ice. But then you look over in Sweden, and I'm told that half the NHLers over there, because the restrictions are that much more relaxed, are in fact skating up to 2-3 times per week. How big of an advantage, if any, is it going to be for the European guys who are allowed to skate over there and come back to North America, and the rest of you guys haven't been on ice for upwards of 2+ months, could be more?
Yeah, this is news to me. So I mean, I think if you can get on the ice and that's safe and they're saying it's allowed, then absolutely get out there. Obviously, we're not in a position here to do that. So,
yeah.
But if they can do it, go ahead. And I think once this all is, kind of passes by and we do resume the season, whenever that may be, there's been lots of talks, and I think they'll give us plenty of time to, get our legs under us and have a little mini training camp. And I'm sure the first 2 or 3 ice sessions will feel horrible, but once you get past that, should be all right.
So now, when I went through one lockout, and you've been through that, and they're always, you're always following news, right? You're trying to work out, you're trying to stay motivated, but you're following news. Oh, there's a meeting here and a meeting over there, and this group's meeting. This is so different. Like, how do you even keep your brain in sort of kind of hockey mode? Because it seems like it's so far away.
Yeah, it is. It is a different one. It's not us versus the owners or anything like that. We're all kind of in this together. We all got, one goal, and that's to play again. So we're all trying to work together, and it's a tough situation. But like you said, I think some days are better than others. Some days I wake up and I read things and I think, oh, I'm kind of optimistic, and other days I'm like, just beside myself. Or you don't see it, the light at the end of the tunnel. So as far as staying motivated, I think it's just at this point, when you're kind of stuck inside, or you're not seeing friends, you're not really doing anything, just a workout to get the day going is kind of good for your mental health. So that's kind of start the day with a workout and push yourself as best you can on any given time, and then the rest of the day you're killing time. So if all you got to do is get one workout in a day, that's it's pretty simple when you're sitting on the couch for the rest of it.
Sorry, Dregs, have you looked back at your year and tried to figure it all out yet? Or have you just does it all seem like you're still continuing? Because certainly the start was really tough for you, and that didn't look like you. I mean, I've seen you play since you were 15, and that didn't look like you.
Yeah, the first part of the season for me, first 20, 25 games or whatever, was that was probably the most frustrated I've ever been in my career, and just things weren't going. And switching teams, I don't think I gave enough credit for how hard that can be on guys, and so it was frustrating for sure. But then kind of coincided with the coaching change. We started to roll a little bit, and I'm very, very grateful I was able to turn it around a little bit. And I feel like I was really excited for those last 10, 12 games, and then a big playoff push, because that's kind of where and I know I was traded for a big key piece of the Leafs, and I know people love Naz there, so I wanted to try and carry my end of the bargain, and do the Leafs faithful some good in the playoffs.
Tyson, it's hard to focus on the business of the National Hockey League right now because it's in pause, obviously. But we've spent a fair bit of time because we're trying to fill time. Looking at the crop of pending unrestricted free agents, and you're high on that list. I mean, who's kidding who? How much time do you or other players spend thinking about what might happen here and what the business side might look like when you get to the open market, if you choose to go to the open market as a free agent?
Yeah, it's a weird time to be a free agent, no doubt. I think it's a weird time for everyone. And you play your career, and you get a chance to go to July 1, and then there's July 1 doesn't even seem to exist right now. So it's it is what it is, though. And I think if you keep it in perspective, we're all playing a game we love, and we're all making good money, and there's people who are really struggling out there. So if July 1's moved back to October 1 or whatever the date is, you just kind of roll with it. I think it's not ideal, but it's not ideal for anybody. So we'll just day at a time.
I saw an agent today, Alan Walsh, comment that a lot of his players are calling him looking for answers, and they don't have any. Like, do you even bother calling and looking for answers, or do you just say, forget it, man? I'll just
No, I haven't. I think we're all just at the mercy of the health agencies and the government. So I think until this stuff sorts itself out, it'll just be all kind of anybody's guess is as good as yours. So
now, I mentioned earlier your dad Len was one time the owner of the Tampa Bay Lightning. So you're a kid, your dad owns the Tampa Bay Lightning, owns an NHL team. What things did you take out of, you go, oh my God, this is the coolest thing ever, my dad owns an NHL team? Like what did you get to, I guess, live that other people would have no idea?
Yeah. For me, it was I was a little bit older when he actually became part of the ownership crew there. I was playing junior in Kelowna. It's like 16, 17, 18. So he owned the team when I was drafted. So I remember he called me from the draft floor, and I was sitting at home in Victoria watching the draft, and he's like, "Hey, Tyson," he's like, "I'm not bullshitting you. You're the next guy on our scouts list. Like, we want to take you." And I was like, "Dad," I'm like, "Please don't." I'm like, "Please do not take me." I'm like, "If you take me, I'll be like," I just asked him. I was like, "Please don't do that." And then he didn't, thankfully. And then I went to Colorado a few picks later, but I was a bit nervous. I was a bit nervous. Everyone was going to think I got drafted because my dad owned the team. So,
geez, thanks, Dad. Right?
I would have, a couple more rounds went by, I would have been calling him, "Hey, can you please take me?"
Now, did you get around there at all, or were you too busy out doing what you needed to be doing?
Yeah, I went down once or twice for sure. Which was cool. I mean, I was, 17, I was doing the top prospects game and this kind of stuff. So I was getting to see the pro side of it a little bit. And I went down and walked to the room and checked out the stick room and kind of, but all the guys were gone. It was in the summer. So I never was really around the team or anything like that when they were there, because I was busy doing, playing junior.
You mentioned your workout at home. You got a gym, you can do some stuff. You got a shooting spot too, apparently. Apparently
yeah,
some. Now, did you hear about Joe Kelly from the Dodgers?
Did he try to throw a changeup and broke his window or something?
He did.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Yeah.
So are you protected, or is your house protected from an errant one-timer?
So I nailed up a net, and I tried to make my little shooting area, and it was going really well. And then I put one by the top corner right through the window.
Oh,
but it's just in the garage, so it's yeah, whatever. We'll deal with that later.
Did you do any of that when you were a kid? Did you
Oh yeah, I had a little hockey box in the backyard, so I would shoot pucks nonstop, and I was out there playing road hockey with my buddies. But
no, but I mean, break somebody's window?
No, because we had a hockey box, so it was pretty protected. Yeah. I'm sure we did a bunch of dumb.
Of course.
Yeah, actually, I mean, we used to. There'd be pucks ending up in the neighbor's yard all the time, a couple off the roof and stuff. But I don't ever remember breaking any windows.
So there was as soon as we promoted the fact that you were coming on the Ray and Dregs Hockey Podcast, automatically there were a handful of guys replying saying you have to talk about his experience with Nathan MacKinnon. Obviously, a great time with the Colorado Avalanche, but more about the temper of Nate MacKinnon and the temper tantrums that maybe we don't get to see on a regular basis, but you do get a sense of that hot temper and a short fuse of Nate MacKinnon. Any stories stick out for you?
I mean, he's one of my best buddies. I love him. It's we won't call it a temper. We'll call it passion. He's he's one of the most intense people you'll ever meet, and not necessarily if you're going out for dinner or whatever, but when you're at the rink, and actually that might not be true even at dinner. He's not letting anything go, so you got to be on your toes with Nate around all the time, and I think it served him well to get to be the player that he is now. I don't think he'd have that edge that he has if he didn't have that in him. So, but yeah, you don't want to get on his bad side. It's not fun. I've been there a few times.
Okay, so is it the type of temper though, like if you're sitting down the bench or you're sitting across the room and you can see like, okay, he's getting to the boiling point here, do you start to giggle and go like if it's not you or you're giggling?
If he catches you giggling, then it's like then you're in trouble. You can tell like in the morning. We'd always carpool. He lived like a block from me in Colorado, so he'd always pick me up, and I would just have to feel it out. I'm like, okay, what kind of mood's he in this morning? Like, what kind of music's he listening to? Like, some days I'd get in and he'd just look at me and I'm like, all right, it's going to be a quiet ride to the rink this morning.
That's awesome. Okay, so you let it be quiet? Like, wouldn't that be the needle time?
Oh, 100. Okay, here's the thing about Nate is like, I'll chirp him all, but there's times where it's just not the time. He just, okay. I'll just go on Instagram, look at my phone, and then we get to the rink, and then I'll chirp him a little bit. But if he's having a bad morning, you just let him get his coffee at him first.
Is there anyone with the Maple Leafs that's similar?
I don't know if there's anyone in the world that's similar. Nate's a unique guy. I mean, but then you talk about his temper and his passion and all that, but yeah. He likes to have fun. He's lighthearted, and under it all, he's like an onion. He says you got to peel the layers back.
What was the biggest difference, Denver to Toronto? Is it everything? Or is there one thing that stood out?
Yeah, I think for me in Denver, I was living in the suburbs, and it was kind of it was just such a relaxed vibe and just kind of everything. And then you go right to Toronto, and I'm right in the heart of downtown. I'm taking the subway to games, and you're right in the thick of it. So I think it was a big adjustment just in that sense. And then in Denver, the fans are great. They love you. If you guys aren't doing that well, it's they're not too upset. And when you are doing well, they're right behind you, and they're all for you. And then in Toronto, it's they expect so much out of this team, and especially now where we have the expectations, we have the players, we have the pieces, so they're looking for big things. And there's some games, if I played horrible, I knew I was just going to take it on the chin. And then there was some games I thought I played well, and I still took it on the chin. So I was like, I can't figure this one out.
All right, Tyson. Well, we're going to let you go, man. Thanks very much for taking the time in doing this with us. I know that Maple Leaf fans, NHL fans in general, are looking forward to seeing you and the league back when it's safe to do so. So stay healthy, be well.
Yeah, you guys too. Thanks for having me, guys.
All the best, Tyson. Thanks.
Take it easy. See you guys.